welcome to
Another great episode, and Mr. Sal will be the leader today. Mr. Sal.
We're in great hands. No. So today, Daniel, I have a very special guest, a super talented artist with an amazing backstory, right? So we are here joined by Tiffany Featherstone. Tiffany is a former realtor for about 15 years until switching over, converting to full-time artist status in 2023. And you actually had a date, right? You had like a specific day when you became an artist, I noticed. But that's amazing, right? But Tiffany's work, it's known for its unique pouring method and its stippling technique. And so we'll look at a few examples during the episode, but it's the kind of work that if it's in front of you, you could sort of stare into it for, hours. I think when I was looking at your work, Tiffany, and I think someone had to put like a 2x4 and sort of knock me away from it just to reorient myself, right? But your process, as described by the artist in creating these works, echoes the resilience, the focus, the transformation, and the inner strength of her subject matter, which is typically elements that you would find in the desert, right? So you've got towering saguaro cacti, you've got vast desert landscapes, you've got starscapes, right? Other natural and sort of universal symbols are present in Tiffany's work. And I think, Tiffany, you described the Southwest as an embodiment of the human spirit because of its adaptability, its resilience, its beauty. So Tiffany, her work was recently showcased. This is how I got to meet you at Studio Rochot up in North Scottsdale, which is the art gallery / boutique operated and founded by Jenny Rochot, who was on our podcast. So Tiffany has worked there, and she's preparing for a show. It's coming up February 2026. It's going to be at the Fifth Avenue Foundry in Phoenix, Arizona. So I think it's just you're racing to the finish line now, right? For that show. So we're excited to see what you produce for that. You could learn more and see Tiffany's process in action if you go to tiffanyfeatherstone.com. That's her official website. Check out her Instagram. The handle is at Tiffany_Featherstone. Again, that's Tiffany_Featherstone. You'll see videos, you'll see time lapses, and plenty more. So, Tiffany, thank you firstly for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Wow, that was quite an intro.
Hey, you accomplished quite a lot there. And you're still going, obviously. So my first question for you is, I was captivated by this switch, right? You were a realtor for 15 years. That's a totally different world in every way from what you're doing now, right? So I want to know, I want to dig up some dirt. What's the scariest thing about switching careers like that? But then what's the most exhilarating?
Wow. Well, being a realtor, you're essentially solving people's problems all day, which is not unlike art. We're solving problems when we're painting and, oh, that was a mess up. How am I going to cover that up? What am I going to do with this situation here? So maybe it was training me for where I was going. But for me, the switch was because of the stress. And I've been painting for over 10 years, selling my work for over 10 years, but art just kind of became more and more my coping mechanism to get away from real estate. And so the scariest thing was to leave that world behind and completely shift from going and being in my car constantly with clients and showing homes and being around people all the time to being in my studio painting all day by myself. Honestly, that was the biggest adjustment for me. And also the most exhilarating, I'll be honest. I think it kind of answers both of your questions. Just being able to explore my authenticity and really dive into who I feel that I truly am and should have been years ago.
Nice. So, do you see aspects of your previous life and career sort of seeping into your presence? Like, I would guess maybe, I mean, I'm looking at your website, the way you sort of carry yourself as an artist, the way you message your work, it's very professional and polished, which is awesome to see. So, I wonder, does that sort of business sense, does that carry over from your past life, or is that something that you just picked up?
Well, that's a good question. I think that in real estate, as we all know, so everyone knows a realtor, and realtors try to stay front and center on social media. They want to be thought of, they want to be remembered. And I will say that that did kind of transfer with my marketing, I guess.
Mm.
So I'm comfortable being online. I'm comfortable sharing my process. I'm comfortable posting, which I think that's something that realtors just do. And as far as seeping into my work, I would say definitely, because I'm still in touch with realtors. I'm still in that industry. I still have my license. I just don't use it. So I still have people calling me and asking me about house stuff, and I'm like, let me refer you to this person because I'm out
Right.
of luck now.
That part of my life is over with.
I'm done. I'm done. And
I'm done.
I'm joking. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's really stressful. So yeah.
You're not the first to tell me that too. Like it's really fascinating. And I love seeing that. It's like Daniel, it's like, oh, we converted another one, right? It's like, you can only go through so much of that world before art calls you, right? Something else calls you in, and
Yeah.
you just knowing you for as much as I know you, I feel like you're happier now, right? You carry yourself with like a cloud of positivity, like
Oh,
it's
that's nice.
sunshine, right? And the work you do kind of reflects this renaissance, this sort of phoenix rising that is happening in your life.
I love that. Thank you. That's wow.
I know. Wait, that is profound, Daniel. This is um.
I'll
So
take
another
Improving, Mr.
I'll
Sal.
take another question for you. So when I mentioned, I was joking as I looked in at your work, your skies, that stippling technique
yes.
that you've mastered. It could really pull you in, right? It engages the viewer. But I'm wondering, are you as a person, as an artist, as patient as your stippling technique suggests?
Well, here's the thing. So when I was in real estate, I was, like I mentioned, very stressed. So I started out doing abstracts many years ago, and most of the clients that I have are realtors. So I was selling my work to realtors at the time. And I wanted to find a way of, because I was doing these big loose abstract pours, and I wanted to contain that into a defined subject matter. And because I was in such a stressful environment, I wanted something that would force me to focus. And it was kind of like meditation to be in these, pouring and cutting away and, being so precise. And then this year, I kind of shifted. I'm still pouring, but I shifted and started doing the stippling. I just had this vision one day, and I was like, I want to do the Milky Way, and I'm going to just do a gazillion stars. So I just started doing these dots, and it was so hypnotic. It was
Hmm.
extremely meditative. So I don't know that it would be patience as much as hypnotizing. There was times when I'm doing all these millions of dots, and I would be like, I don't think I've blinked in an hour. I probably should take a break and put some eye
Right.
drops in my eyes. So, and as you see here, each one of those is a single dot. So it takes a lot of time and patience, and um, I wouldn't even say patience. I would say perseverance. I would say, because you get this much done, and you're like, I have a 24-inch board that I have to finish doing this. And then you're like halfway. It's just, it feels good to do it. I feel like it's just different.
Hmm. And it seems like this could apply to a night sky. It could apply to, as we saw with some of your other work, a cityscape, right?
Yes.
So it's got this like really infinite possibility aspect to it,
I've done
which I think,
I've done swallow, or is it, what are the birds that do the murmurations? Is it swallows? I forget. Starlings. I've done the starling
oh,
murmurations, and in this piece here, all those little tiny trees are all dots. The options are endless for
right.
stippling, honestly. Snow, I mean, it could be a million things.
And so the desert, right? The desert as a subject matter, that seems like something that is constantly giving you more juice, right? More creative juice. You talk about how it equates to human emotion. I wonder, did the desert find you? Like, were you always painting the desert, or did you find the desert later?
Great question. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. I moved here in the late 1900s to Arizona,
I
and
remember it.
yeah, and I wasn't fond of the desert. I'm going to be very honest. I was like, there's no leaves on any of the trees. Everything is just hairy. Like, what is going on here? And it definitely grew on me. And I will say, switching careers, I was 52 when I left real estate. I It was really scary, to be honest, to go from
Mhm.
something that I was so honed in on to a completely new industry. And the desert, I mean, it's here, it's all around me. So it's hard not to be inspired by it now. I love the desert now, by the way. I absolutely
Mhm.
adore it, obviously. So the inspiration is right outside
Well,
my
I hope so.
painting.
Yes.
You're
So
kind of cashing all your chips on the desert.
I find that the Southwest in general, not even just Phoenix or Arizona, just the desert in general, all the
Yeah,
Southwest is so inspiring
it
because
is.
of the resilience and how I feel like I didn't mean to paint things that were resilient and transformation. I think it just kind of happened that way because it was my story. I moved from one thing to another and I had to rebuild myself. And I'm looking at, these prickly pear that
Mhm.
survive in hundreds of degrees and still manage to make these incredibly gorgeous flowers that are delicate. And how is the desert such a harsh environment and can still provide such beauty? So that was just my inspiration and why I turned to the desert, because I feel like we relate to that. That's human nature.
Yeah, I think, and Daniel, that's another reason to come out to Arizona, right? Because it's like there's a beauty sort of baked into its survivalism, right? The desert has this sort of survivalist beauty to it, right?
Yeah,
Everything's resilient and a little dangerous. There's a lot of sharp edges, but it's inherently beautiful in its own way, and it's unique, right? I think than other ecosystems out there.
for
But
sure.
but like you're saying, you have to appreciate it. I think the work that you produce really brings out the best of the desert too, right? It
Thank you.
makes people like from Canada and wherever else, right, in the world, like be like, oh, what is this
Yes.
place? I
I
need to
don't think
go there.
people understand what the desert actually is. They think it's just sand storms from the mummy. I think people
Well, sometimes, yeah,
forget what it really is, but there's
yeah,
so much beauty. And Arizona in general, I think we're the most biodiverse state in the United States. So there's just so much to see. There's so much.
yeah. And I just love how you tie it back to like the human condition also. So your work has multiple layers, obviously. Again, we're talking with Tiffany Featherstone. You could check out her work at tiffanyfeatherstone.com. Follow her on Instagram. So what kinds of work are we going to expect to see in your February show?
Well, it's interesting. I'm not fond of brushes. That's why I pour. And just this week, I decided I'm going to start doing some sketches with brushes. And I'm getting a huge response from it. So I'm thinking I'm going to stick with it. But I've kind of shifted to some wildlife. I've never been a wildlife painter, but I've been focusing on roadrunners and quail and things like that. So I think we may have more of a bird theme. We'll see. I'm still kind of keeping it under wraps for right now because we got to get through the holidays. So
Right, right. So how many paintings would you say you produce, or how many have you produced since you experienced this renaissance, if you will?
since I became full time,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I don't even know. Probably around 200. I try to
Oh my
paint
gosh.
almost every day, if not every other day. I try to crank it out.
So just to put it in perspective, Daniel, 200 pieces since 2023. I've been painting for like 25 years and I'm up to 184.
Oh my gosh.
So
Let's have a big,
um,
big hand.
yes, so
Okay.
congratulations, Tiffany.
Congratulations,
Uh,
Miss Tiffany.
so keep it up. You're prolific, and whatever you're drinking, the power energy drinks. I don't know, it's working. Daniel, do you have any questions for Tiffany?
Yes, and Miss Tiffany, in age of digital and AI generated images, what can unique hand painted physically objects still communicate that a perfect digital reproduction cannot?
Hmm.
Well, what I have mixed feelings about AI. I feel like AI needs data in order to continue to grow, and that means we need artists to feed it the data for it to continue to evolve. So I feel like artists, I'm not afraid of AI. I don't feel like it's going to replace me or take over the industry because it can only do what it can only do with the information that it has. And if it's never going to replace me because humans evolve data. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I
I don't know
hope
if
so.
I answered your question. I hope so. I know, right?
indeed.
Exactly. We'll hope for the best.
This is why whenever I see a Waymo car, I'm like, no, you go ahead. You
Good.
know, I let them,
For
I
sure.
let them go. I'm very nice to the Waymos.
Same.
Um, That's a good question, though, right? Because AI is it's nipping at the heels of sort of handmade work, right?
Yes.
But you're absolutely right. It's like we need to give it content to sort of work off of. Without
Right.
that, it's just sort of existing in its own
Exactly.
hollow space, right? It's so yeah, and I feel AI, like we see these AI generated paintings, images,
Yeah.
it's another tool in the toolbox, right? I think ultimately we'll see artists working with it like they do with acrylics, like they do with oil, right? Maybe doing mixed media.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited by it,
Hmm.
but I don't yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it should replace us because
I don't
that's a
think it
problem.
can. And honestly, I think that if it does continue to evolve, then something human made is going to be that much more appreciated. So I don't
Hmm.
find it to be threatening, honestly. Maybe
I
that's
have a
me.
question. Yeah, no, I let's hope it stays this way, right? Um, what advice would you give Tiffany Featherstone if you could go back in time about 15 years?
Oh gosh, I would say, I don't want to say I would not do real estate because I learned so much from it. I met some amazing people. I am very grateful for the experiences that it brought in my life. But I think it was just such an inauthentic thing for me. It wasn't, I didn't grow up saying, I want to be a realtor. That's my dream. I don't know anybody that says that. But I did want to be an artist from as far back as I can remember. So I would say probably to learn what I can fast and get out and start painting sooner.
Nice, yeah. Questions about so the early development, right? Did you have any mentors growing up who sort of who you always kept in mind and they maybe in some way helped you reimagine your career later on?
Well, I will be honest. I had I had a high school art teacher, Miss Hogue, who is probably in my ear with every single painting. I don't even think she's with us any longer, but she was a huge inspiration to me and pushed me at a time that I didn't even know what I was doing. And I think by my senior year, I had English and 4 art classes and then a study hall. I was just all art. I was like, let's go. Come on, Miss Hogue. And she was probably one of my biggest mentors, but overall I have been self-taught. I've learned through experience and screwing up and curiosity and figuring things out as I go, honestly.
I love that. Daniel, any other questions in our remaining moments with Tiffany Featherstone?
Yes, Miss Tiffany, if you could have everyone in the world look at one a single painting for 5 minutes, which one would it be, and what do you believe that shared experience would teach us?
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
I would say I would probably go with some of in my lots of dots section. I really and truly believe that these star series they're just, you can't get enough of the stars. And the more you look at it, the more deep it goes. And I kind of wanted to give it a cosmic feel. So I would go with The Dark Night of the Soul. Probably would be my favorite and the most mesmerizing, I think. The story behind it, it was how I came about even painting that piece. I feel like it's really it's cosmic. It makes you think. It makes you kind of escape. It's from a really neat perspective, looking up at the sky, and I think it gives a lot of imagination to the viewer.
Hmm. Tiffany, what gives you hope as an artist,
What gives me hope?
like for the future?
I feel like things are tumultuous, uh, right now.
just a bit.
And I feel like art is more important than ever. And I think that every brushstroke, every piece that is put out there is a form of hope and a message and a story and a way of, escaping this, whatever this is.
Yeah, and it's very crazy, right? Like the world we're in right now, it's horrible for the world, but it's
Yes,
kind of an interesting time for artists because it gives us a lot to work with, right? We have a lot of things that we can sort of react to. So it's horrible, but it's in a weird way, I find it not inspiring, but sort of chock full of ideas,
that's it.
right? Or something. um, but anyway, Tiffany Featherstone is here with us. Check out tiffanyfeatherstone.com. You'll see videos, you'll see past works, you'll get hints about future works, especially for the upcoming show. And follow Tiffany on Instagram. Tiffany, this was a thrill. I enjoyed sort of hearing your backstory. I only wish you the best going forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing your upcoming show and what you produce after that.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. I truly appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Tiffany. You are most welcome to come back anytime and talk about all your 200 paintings. Share to the world. Yes. So, Mr.
Any,
Saul.
yeah, any last thing you want to share with us, Tiffany? Anything we missed? Any announcements? I know you're knee deep in the show right now.
Well,
Right?
you can also view my work at the Finer Arts Gallery in Cave Creek. It's a beautiful gallery with 50 other local artists, so there's a lot to see there. I'm also in the Gallery 111 in Taos, New Mexico. So if you find yourself there, you can stop in and see my work displayed at that place as well.
she's all over the Southwest map. Yes.
All over the world, not only Southwest, all over the world. And we are looking forward for more 300 or 400
Yes.
paintings, Miss Tiffany. Keep up the good work
Thank you.
and share your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, Mr. Saul, would you like to plug in your book?
I might as well while you bring it up. No, so here's my book. Oh my gosh, look how shameless.
Congratulations.
It hit number one like when it first debuted in early October in a couple categories, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh my goodness. But
Congratulations.
so I'm happy about that. I'm grateful. Thank you, Daniel, for always being a cheerleader for my work,
Yes,
and many other authors and artists and creatives.
definitely.
So it's always great to chat with you. It's great to have guests like Tiffany as well.
Yes, and more to come, people. See you soon.